Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you on this sunny afternoon. While we wait for a few more people to join in, just on the chat, you can tell me if you can hear me very clearly. Just say yes if you can hear me clearly. Okay. And also, if the early birds who have joined, if you can also write which city you are from. I know Vipul is from Ludhiana. So others, which city you are from, it would be awesome. Well, Gaurav, I do know you well, so you need not have written. But yes, thank you. Okay, let us begin. We have the minimum quorum which is there, and I'm sure more people will join. Yeah, Venu is from Bangalore. I can see that is very nice. We have a pan India presence, and that shows the unity in diversity that we have. So let us start. Storytelling per se has been something which over the years has been consistently been there. In the great old age times when there was no paper, no recording, yet leaders as well as historians as well as the culture specialists, they used to pass on their information through obviously something known as stories. There were specialist storytellers, there were others, and life continued. And invariably, there was a hidden framework which was used, which you are not aware of it right now. But as we go ahead, you will realize that the framework which had been used from ages is now just formalized and nothing else. So today we are going to talk about the three act leadership narrative, which will change the way you look at leadership and the way you lead others. So, what you will walk away with is three things: the three act spine, a clear structured framework for your personal leadership, signature stories. There would be at least three distinct signature stories that you can use. It is something like when you go to a restaurant, they provide you with a menu. In that menu, there are various dishes. Now, each dish you can make it like a story. You can serve a story to a particular audience the way you want. And of course, the third thing that you will have is a deploy ready narrative, a story you can use in your interviews, your pitches, your introductions, and your panels. So let's move on. In 2 hours, there are 6 modules that we will cover, and I will try and time it accordingly within 2 hours. But in suppose there is somewhere we find more time, we will see how we can work on it. So 6 modules: why leaders must tell stories, the 4 levels of leadership story, the three-act leadership narrative, signature stories, situational storytelling, and the formula. Life cannot be completed without a formula. So, formula for crafting a leadership story. So, these are the modules that we have. In between, it is interactive. I will hope that you will keep interacting through the chat mode. Keep a diary nearby to note your points which come to your mind, and there will be an opportunity to discuss it also. So let's move on. Tell me about yourself. Well, this is these 4 words which can put any leader in a tipsy. Leaders get frozen in their minds, the best of leaders. So today, I am going to work with you to resolve this problem. We fix it forever. Here is a quick question for you. On a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you of telling your own leadership story? Please answer in the chat or comment box. 5 being absolutely confident, 1 being less. Yes, Vipul says that if everyone agrees Hindi resonates more, what I will do, I'll keep you in mind, Vipul, और मैं हिंदी और अंग्रेजी और इंग्लिश मैं दोनों का इस्तेमाल करूंगा. I hope that works for everyone. Okay, please put in where, how confident, आप कितने confident हैं अपनी leadership story के लिए between 1 and 5. Okay, I'm not getting a response. Okay, now suddenly I get it. Aryaman says 3, Venu says 2, Gaurav says 4. Very nice. Harshdeep says 2, Sanju says 3. Yes, there are a lot of people. I'm so happy to see that there is no one at 5, because if he was at 5, he need not have attended here. And no one is at 1. That is also very nice, because you have some basic idea. So 2 and 3 are the people who will benefit the most from today. So let's move on. Why leaders must tell stories? That age-old stuff that we have, all right? Stories have survived everything so far. Then why leaders must tell stories? So it is not something which is custom. It is custom or culture. You should be happy to know that it is all related to the brain, the neuroscience of story. The human mind is a story processor. Remember it always. It is a story processor, not a logic processor. When we hear facts, 2 regions of the brain get activated, the Broca's area and the Wernicke's area. And when you start hearing a story, the brain lights up in 7 more regions, including the motor cortex, the visual cortex, and the limbic system, the seat of decision making and emotion. So, what you see, I'm saying, is something very important, that your brain lights up when somebody tells you a story. It is as simple as that. And the brain which gets lighted up will respond better. That goes without saying. And why data alone does not lead? There is a simple example I'll give to you just now, and you will understand. Okay, so here it is. There is a leader, let's call him A for the simplicity's sake, who is a data specialist, and he is talking to his team, and he tells to them, our customer rating is down 12 points. Attrition is at 18%, and the company has missed Q3 by 23%. It needs to be fixed. He has given all the facts. But if you were the person who was listening to him, I'm sure your mind would be elsewhere. You would be half asleep. And you will say that what nonsense this guy is talking. It is all statistics and facts. On the other hand, there is a leader B who says, last week, I looked at 3 numbers. Customer rating down 12 points, attrition at 18%, and our quarterly target has been missed by 23%. Now, these aren't just statistics, they are signals. Signals that we must listen better, work sharper, and support each other more. If we change our actions today, the numbers will change tomorrow. If you are listening to this, obviously you will feel as a part of a narrative arc. You will feel that the problem is yours and you would want to be a part of the resolution. That is the power of narratives. That is the power of storytelling. Let me give you a live example. I'm sure most of you know this guy. This is Baiju Ravindran. You see, he took his company to a multi-billion dollar valuation by telling just one story. Well, he said that when I was in my village in Kerala, I used to teach students under a tree, and they consistently did better than those students who were studying in big cities in elite colleges and coaching institutions. So the problem is not the students, it is the method by which you teach. And I am bringing in the best method. Now, this really worked well, and you know how Bejus took up. But you know what? He later changed his narrative. What happened was that they grew very fast at a much larger scale. And as a result, his narrative got changed. He started blaming. He started blaming his investors, his foreign contributors, his other colleagues, and so on. You see, leaders are not judged only by their results. They are judged on whether the story stays coherent under pressure. And he lost out. So, have you ever seen a leader who lost credibility because their story stopped making sense? Say yes or no in chat box. Just say yes or no, how it works. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the responses. I'm sure most of you have seen leaders who have lost credibility because that story changed over a period of time, right? So let us move ahead. There are actually 4 levels of leadership story. Yes, there are 4 levels. Paul Smith mentioned about 9 types of stories. But for this session, we talk about 4. Watch it very carefully. This is something which I have created only for you and no one else. क्या है, मैं आपको भी एक्सप्लेन करता हूं. ये 2x2 जो मैंने आपके लिए बनाया है, इसमें if you see the y axis, उसमें नीचे you have the past lessons, and on ahead on top you have the future vision. On the horizontal axis, on the left side you have personal experience, and on the right side we have organizational impact. Now, when you as a person, as a leader, weave together your past lessons with your personal experience, you know what comes out? An origin story. It talks about where you have arrived. This is why you started. Most leaders have this, but it is too long. We'll discuss it. Next, when you have a future vision about things and you relate it to your personal experience, what happens is your belief story. This is your value story. What will you not compromise? This is what builds trust amongst people. Now, when you bring your past lessons with the organizational impact, you come up with your leadership story, right? This is the defining moment story. This is what the moment you chose to lead differently. This is about that. The moment you chose to lead differently, right? Then is, of course, the future vision with how your future vision can impact the organization. We call it the vision story. This is the where we are going story. Elon Musk's entire presence is built around this level. Like he wants to establish mankind on Mars, and his entire companies are aligned with that. Most leaders have only level 1, that is origin story, and nothing more than that. Unfortunately, Great leaders have all four, and they know which level to deploy where. It's a truth. And that is how the menu is of a restaurant. Imagine a restaurant which only serves roti with dal. How many times will you go there? Not really. You need more things in life. Today, we will build all of them into one coherent three-act narrative for you. So stay on, listen on, and that is how you will learn. There is a quick poll. Which level do you think you are strongest in right now? Which level are you strongest in right now? Just these were the four levels. You can just write down which level it is in which you are strong. Okay, you can think upon it, mull upon it, maybe note it down somewhere with you. Which one is it that you are strong about? Now I come to the core, the three-act leadership narrative. I told you initially, if you remember, all those who were there, that frankly, the stories have survived over centuries because they have a framework, a hidden framework that we are really not aware about generally. It is about the setup, the confrontation, and the resolution. Any movie that you see, an Indian Bollywood, Hollywood movie, you will realize that there is a setup, there is a confrontation, and there is a resolution. The confrontation has some tension in it, which causes people to continue watching it. All right? That causes people to continue watching. So let us move ahead. The three-act structure, I have tried to bring up a number of places from which we can identify it. So I have put it in three acts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Aristotle, when he was there, he talked about the beginning, the middle, and the end. In Mahabharata, before the Kurukshetra war, it was dharma in balance, the dharma where people ruled as per some dharma. Then you have dharma in crisis, that was the actual Kurukshetra war. And then is dharma restored when the Pandavas became kings and things continued like that. So here is a very nice story format which is there. So Hari has just joined. Hello Hari, I hope you will learn a lot out here. अच्छा, अगला है हॉलीवुड. हॉलीवुड जो है, इट इज अबाउट सेटअप, कन्फ्रंटेशन, रेजोल्यूशन. बट जो इंटरेस्टिंग मेरे को लगता है वो है बॉलीवुड. इंट्रोडक्शन, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, क्लाइमैक्स. क्यों ना हम डिस्कस करें शोले. अब शोले मूवी में सबसे पहले जो ठाकुर है वो जय और वीरू, द टू पीपल जिनको वो लेकर आता है अपने गांव में टू टेल देम अबाउट व्हाई he wants to protect the village and the way he wants to have retribution over somebody who has caused him harm earlier. So there is an introduction where Jay and Viru are introduced and a lot of dancing, jumping, friendship, ये सारी चीजें हैं. And then is the conflict, जिसके अंदर जो गब्बर सिंह और उनकी जो टीम है, जो उनके गुंडे हैं, जो उनके डकैत हैं, वो लोग गांव में आते हैं, उधम मचाते हैं, लोगों को मारते हैं. ये सब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है. उसके बाद जय और वीरू प्रोटेक्शन लाते हैं. प्रोटेक्शन लाने के बाद जय और वीरू क्या करते हैं कि वो जाके उधर अटैक करते हैं, फिर बाद में वो किडनैप भी हो जाते हैं. एंड देन होता है क्लाइमैक्स. उसके बाद क्लाइमैक्स में हेमा मालिनी गाना गाती है, जब तक है जान जाने जहान. एंड वही नहीं, देन फाइनली द बैड मैन, द इविल मैन फाइंड्स हिज क्लाइमैक्स. और ठाकुर जो है वो अपना जो भी बदला है वो उनसे ले लेता है. ये हमारा क्लाइमैक्स होता है. एंड दैट इज हाउ मोस्ट इंडियन मूवीज आर मेड. वैसे ही आपने एज ए लीडर काम करना है, अपनी स्टोरी बनानी है कि एक ऑर्डिनरी वर्ल्ड है, एक क्रूसिबल है. नाउ जिनको क्रूसिबल का मीनिंग नहीं पता, मैं उनको बताता हूँ. इट इज लाइक अ बीकर. अगर आप केमिस्ट्री लैब में हैं तो एक बीकर होता है जिसके अंदर सारे रिएक्शंस होते हैं. करेक्ट? तो वो एक क्रूसिबल बोलते हैं उसको. लाइफ में भी एक आपका एरिया है जिसके अंदर आप सब कुछ करेंगे. एंड देन उसके बाद है द न्यू वर्ल्ड, जहां पर आपका क्लाइमेक्स या जो आपका धर्मा रिस्टोर्ड है या रिजोल्यूशन है, वेर यू लिव अ लाइफ विच इज देयर, right? So that is how it is. Welcome, Rajshri, Shri and Raj. I see that you have joined just now. Okay, so let's move ahead. आपने ये 3 एक्ट देख लिए. अब मैं फोकस करूंगा लीडर्स के लिए जो 3 एक्ट स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होना चाहिए. Okay, 3 act map for leaders. Very simple. There is the ordinary world, as I said, and एक क्रूसिबल, मैंने आपको बताया था क्रूसिबल की मीनिंग क्या है. एंड देन थर्ड इज द न्यू वर्ल्ड. तो ऑर्डिनरी वर्ल्ड में यू एस्टैब्लिश योर ओरिजिन, बिलीव्स एंड नॉर्मल लाइफ बिफोर यू टॉक अबाउट द रियल क्रूसिबल इवेंट. क्रूसिबल में आप अपना डिफाइनिंग मोमेंट बताएंगे, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन बताएंगे, और न्यू वर्ल्ड में आप जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुई है उसका इम्पैक्ट बताएंगे. ये तो अभी आपको मैंने सिर्फ इतना बताया है. अभी हम आगे स्टोरी भी बनाएंगे. अब हम हर एक्ट को, आई एम गोइंग टू टेक यू थ्रू ईच एक्ट वन बाय वन. ओके, नाउ द ऑर्डिनरी वर्ल्ड. ओके, सो इसके अंदर क्या है, लेट मी शो यू. देयर इज अ बैकग्राउंड. रिमेंबर, दिस इज द एक्ट 1 ऑफ योर लीडरशिप नैरेटिव. इसके अंदर बैकग्राउंड है, बिलीव्स हैं, रोल है, चैलेंजेस हैं. लेट मी टेक यू थ्रू द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ नितिन कामत ऑफ ज़ेरोधा. सी, नितिन जो थे, he was a middle class guy. His father worked in a bank. उनकी जो मदर थी, she was a music teacher, and in their lives money was valued but no risks were taken. एंड जो उनकी बिलीफ थी नितिन की, कि यार उनकी जो वैल्यू थी, दैट वाज दैट देयर शुड बी नो नथिंग हिडन. पीपल शुड बी एबल टू यूज टेक्नोलॉजी एंड देयर शुड बी नो इंस्टेंस व्हेन द ब्रोकर्स टेक बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द नॉर्मल कस्टमर्स दैट आर देयर. हिज रोल वाज, he was a broker himself, he was into trading, and he wanted to become something which can make a difference. And there were a lot of challenges. The challenges were obvious. Challenges जो थे, जैसे कि जो brokers मैंने आपको जैसे बताया, they were not transparent at all, right? And that is why people lost money. They had no faith in the system. He thought he would change everything. So, just a thought, while you are all here, मेरा suggestion आपको ये है कि if you can on your diaries, just note somewhere, don't put it on chat, about your ordinary world, your own ordinary world. Okay, in 3 or 4 words. We will use it later, right? Just note it. Let's move on. Okay. There is somebody more, Mr. Manoj has joined. Kanoj, okay, from GNDU. Welcome, Manoj. Next, we are coming to the most important part of this, which is the Act 2, which is about navigating this crucible. I told you crucible is the most important thing. So let us move ahead. There is a disruption, right, which caused you to bring this change from ordinary life. There is a stake which is involved. There are some stakes. There is a choice which you have to have. And of course, there is a lowest point at which you find that you are at a difficult situation. Let's continue with our Nikhil Kamath of Zerodha. Okay. So for him, what was the disruption? It was watching these retail investors lose money to opaque brokerage fees, very opaque brokerage fees, while the market kept growing. Yes, technology improved, market growth was growing, but the retail investors were losing. So this was the disruption that he wanted to overcome. What the stake? Of course, the stake was not just money. It was not this money which was at stake. It was much beyond. It was Nitin's belief that a better system was possible. Now, what choices did he have? His choice was that either he could continue with the system which is there, right? Or he could do his own creation. Maybe he decided, like it was, to build a zero commission platform where which actually everyone said was impossible to make. But that was a choice that he went with. Then, of course, what was his lowest point? Firstly, everyone said that you can't do it, but he did it. And for quite some time, that he had zero revenue. And he's kept thinking, Ki kya hai? Have I gone wrong? Have I really gone wrong in this? That's what he kept thinking. And by the way, you know this term Zerodha, which is there. It is actually a sandhi, कि zero और रोड़ा. रोड़ा मतलब हिंदी में होता है चैलेंज, रुकावट. जीरो रुकावट, दैट इज zerodha. सो अगेन मैं आपको कहूंगा कि अपने करियर में आप सोचिए कि ऐसा कौन सा मोमेंट था which could have gone either way. Hold on to that thought. You will need it someone's later, but note it down somewhere. What was your lowest point and what was the decision that you took which brought you here today as compared to you could have been somewhere else? It's a very important aspect. So let's move on. The new world. Yes, the new world is about transformation. It's about how did it change your leadership? What different do you offer now? And who are the recipient of your offer? Right? Zerodha mein, it is very clear. The transformation took place. They had a zero brokerage website. They became one of the most well-known brokerage agencies. It brought in more confidence. There were more people who came for coming and joining into investing in stocks and shares. And what they offer today is transparency and more clarity. Their website has minimal obstruction. And how he gains money, you will ask that, because there is zero brokerage, is that there is a one-time charge of, say, 200 rupees when the people join, and he charges maybe 20 rupees per head for each transaction. And the audience is obviously, initially he himself was the audience, if you really see, because he was a dealer as a daily investor and he found these problems. Now the audience is others. I can take you through, just at this moment, it came to my mind, I can tell you my own story. See, I was in the armed forces for a long time, right? And at that time, I rose up through the ranks to the position of a full colonel. And thereafter, I found that I was no more associated with the men, and I was slowly being pushed into administration, into things which are less related to men. And what I wanted was to make a difference to the world in a big way. So what I did was, I decided to come out of my comfort zone. I left the Indian Army and joined the Indian School of Business to do an MBA out there. I thought that this is the time I can learn so much about other things, the commerce, the leadership of a corporate kind, and so many other things. And of course, I did my MBA. Thereafter, I've had my career. And today, what I want to offer to people is my learning from the armed forces and from the corporate, and how people can learn how to use narratives to change their leadership stance. And the audience is, of course, the people like you. Right now, you are my audience as we talk about it. Let's move on. Let me teach you one very important thing, which is the ABT rule for your leadership narrative. It is and, but therefore. Very simple, actually, right? That I was an army officer and I believed that I will serve the humanity, the country to the best of my ability. But as I rose through the ranks, there came a stage where I found that I can do much better outside the organization than within the organization. And therefore, I stepped out of my comfort zone and I did an MBA. And today, I am a corporate trainer or I am a consultant. I can use any of these words, right? So simple. I made a story out of this, which even you can do. Let's move ahead. I have three people's name whom I am showing you for this story. Like first is Soho, Sridhar Vembu. Act 1, he was a Princeton trained engineer working in Silicon Valley and believed that world class software companies could be built from India. But venture capitalist pressure pushed startups towards hyper growth, as was with Beju's, which I told you, valuations, and so on, metro hiring. The models that he believed were unsustainable. Therefore, he built Zoho as a profitable bootstrapped company from rural India, training local talent and proving a different global tech model. Right? See, this is a three-act story which has been created. Similarly, there is of Freshworks, Girish Mathrubootham, how he worked in customer support and understood the daily frustrations. But enterprise support software was complex, expensive, and indifferent. Therefore, he started Fresh Tech in Chennai, built simpler customer first support softwares. That is how it works. And then, of course, Zerodha, I have been talking with you. So this would be easy for you to understand that Nitin Kamath was an active trader and a brokerage employee and understood how confusing and expensive stock trading was for ordinary Indian investors. But traditional brokerage firms charged high commission and offered complex platforms that discouraged these small investors. So he founded Zerodha, creating low cost technology driven trading platforms that opened stocks markets to millions of Indians. So I hope now it is clear the and, but, and therefore, how you can use it to make your own stories. Let's move on. A quick poll. Now, which of the three acts has the maximum tension? I told you about tension initially, right? Which helps you continue. So, which of these acts has the maximum tension to retain people? Act 1, 2, or 3? You can put it in the chat box. Okay, let's move on. Now I come to an important aspect, finding and filing your signature stories. Again, I'll take you to the restaurant where you have a menu. Imagine if you had only dal roti, what would have happened? You have to have more stories, more things on the menu, right? What is a signature story? First, we need to understand that. A signature story it's true, it's based on real events. Like the initial story, for those people who were there, what I told was about how there was a patrol in J&K, which I had led, right? That was based on real events. Next, it should be specific. It should include details like time, place, names, and so on. Then it should be transferable. Lessons apply beyond the original context. And lastly, it should be strategic. It supports the intended message about identity. Right? Remember these four things. These make your signature story. Most important in this is, of course, it being true, based on a real event. Only then you will be able to bring in the passion which is required. So here is a quick one. Do you have a signature story? Just say yes or no in the chat box if you have. That would help me in understanding how things are. Okay, let's move on. Am I seeing anyone answering? Please do so. I just want to understand if you have a signature story. Okay, moving on. The story inventory grid. What are the various types of stories that you can have? We talked about signature stories. So each signature story has to be linked to something in your life. You have, as I said, more than one story for every leader. So you have the origin story. I'm going from personal to strategic, right? You first have the origin story. Let me quickly tell you about the story of Falguni Nair. You see, Falguni, she was working in a consulting firm at the age of 45, 40 to 45. And at this age, people generally start looking at their retirement age as to what they will do. But on the other hand, Falguni was very, very particular about what is going around. And she saw one thing, that women who want to buy beauty products are really hassled. All right. Firstly, that it's about whether the products are original or are they fake. Second, are they within that whatever level of time that is there, they are there or not. And thirdly, what are the price points that people are being charged? And then when ladies go and buy, people, the sales people who are selling are always judging them. So it became a not a beauty story. It was actually a horror story. And she thought that I will change that. I can't have this going on. And that is the time she said that I will set up a platform, an online platform, where beauty products will be available. They would be authentic, they would be of high quality. And more important, since they are online, there would be no one there to judge them, judge the beauty. People said that what you are talking, who will buy things online? But sure enough, she believed in it. She got it done. And you know the rest of it. How Nika, which she started, is today Nika is one of the most leading companies which are there. So this is her origin story, how she started, right? Next is the failure story, your credibility story. When did you fail publicly and what did you learn? Obviously, I gave you the example of Baiju Ravindran. He failed dramatically, right? Absolutely. And he failed because his narrative changed from a person, the name Baijus, जो कि टीम इंडिया के टी शर्ट पे पीछे लिखा जाता था, वो बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर का उसका वैल्यूएशन था, वो पूरा फेल हो गया. टुडे दे आर नोवेयर. व्हाट अ स्टोरी. देयर हैव बीन केस स्टडीज जो इसके ऊपर लिखे गए हैं. There have been a number of case studies. Similarly, all of us have failure stories, and we need to learn from that. The third is the leadership story. Ratan Tata. Imagine when the Hotel Taj के ऊपर जब अटैक हुआ था, उसके बाद रतन टाटा stood up as a leader. उनकी जो कंप्लीट ताज होटल के जो एम्प्लॉइज थे, उनको उन्होंने हाथ पकड़ के रखा. लिटरली he reached to their families. उनको सपोर्ट किया where it was required. He was the leader who was present when it was required. Then is your values story. Yes, our own Narayan Murthy, Infosys, उनका क्या हुआ? that he said that I will not pay bribes. He said nothing doing. Initially, Infosys को बहुत problem आया. With bribes were the norm, but sure enough, he didn't pay, and because he delivered quality, people started accepting the fact that he doesn't pay. Right? There are so many companies who are ready to bend backwards, but then in the long run, that is a bad story. Okay, then is the vision story. I told you about Elon Musk, right? Where you want to go. He wants to take mankind to Mars, and he's working towards that. That is his vision. And that vision has so much emboldened his shareholders that today they are paying him an amount which no other CEO is paid. Imagine that, right? Let's move on. I want to now take a brief break for you. I want you to write 3 words under each of the 5 lenses that I had shown. Not full stories, just 3 or 4 words. You can pause now, write in a notebook, and then drop 1 word in the comments. Now, these are the 5 lenses, right, which I said. Just put 3 words. That would be a great assistance. And maybe we can even weave a story right now out of that. So just put your words. Take your time. We have 5 minutes. You can do that. I'm holding on. I'm watching. Put in your words. If not for all, you can just put in a word for any one of the stories or lens that we have. Anyone ready? You can put in your word in the chat. Just say vision story and put in a word, or the value story and put in a word. Okay, guys, I'm waiting. At least 1 word can come. Okay, Tarman Singh writes, my vision is to inspire people to discover the leader inside themselves. We'll make a story out of it, but I'm waiting for others. Come on, hurry. विपुल, कहाँ रह गए आप लोग? आरती, प्रीति, एक एक वर्ड लिखिए। हरी ने लिखा है, बिकम ए लीडर एंड ए गुड पर्सन। ओके। Venu Vijay has written world class experience, value. For value, he has written trust, leadership, pressure, failure. For frustration, origin, confidence. Let's take an example. जैसे विनु ने बोला है, trust, leadership, pressure, failure. So I am just making up a story right now. Vinu, it is not really applicable to you, but I am just making that story. इस तरह से कि जैसे मैं एक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर था, और एज अ प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर मेरे नीचे 15 लोग थे, और मैं विश्वास रखता था कि हमारी जो प्रोडक्ट है वो वर्ल्ड क्लास होनी चाहिए, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए। एंड क्या हुआ कि हमारा एक प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च होना था, और मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा फोकस हो गया उसके ऊपर, और मैंने डिसाइड किया कि ये वर्ल्ड क्लास प्रोडक्ट होगा। और मैं अपने जो जितने भी मेरे जो कलीग्स थे, जो मेरे एम्प्लॉयज थे, मैं उनके पीछे पड़ गया, उनको मैं बोलने, उनको डे इन डे आउट मैं फॉलो अप कर रहा था। लेकिन जब वो मेरे को कुछ आइडिया देने के लिए आते थे, आई वॉज नॉट रेडी। माई थॉट वॉज दैट दिस प्रोडक्ट हैज टू बी द बेस्ट, एंड आई हैव अ सेट आइडिया, आई विल फॉलो दैट। एंड लेकिन क्या हुआ कि सडनली एक दिन मेरे को अपने मैनेजर का कॉल आया, और उन्होंने बोला कि वेनु, आई एम टेकिंग यू ऑफ फ्रॉम दिस प्रोडक्ट लीडर्स पोस्ट। एंड वेनु वॉज एब्सोल्युटली सरप्राइज्ड। मैं सरप्राइज हो गया कि क्यों। बोलता कि आपके जो नीचे से मेरे को फीडबैक मिला है वो बहुत ही बुरा मिला है, कि आप उनकी सुनते नहीं हो, और उनको जो भी एक्शन करना है आप करने नहीं देते। And there is a total lack of a sense of security amongst the people. I was flabbergasted. That job, that dream job of product manager was taken away from me. But फिर मैं थोड़ी देर तो मैनेजर को गालियां सुनाता रहा कि ये उसने ऐसे कैसे कर दिया। लेकिन फिर मेरे दिमाग में आया कि कहीं ये गलती मेरे में तो नहीं है, और मैंने सोचना शुरू करा, और मैंने ये रियलाइज किया कि मेरी जो टीम थी उसमें साइकोलॉजिकल सेफ्टी तो थी ही नहीं। लोगों को टाइम ही नहीं था, मैं इतना टाइम ही नहीं देता था कि वो अपना कोई पॉइंट दे सके, या अगर वो कुछ बोलते थे तो मैं इतना उन पे गुस्सा होता था कि उन्होंने बोलना शुरू कर दिया। एंड दैट वाज समथिंग व्हिच आई रियलाइज्ड कि दिस इज व्हाट आई वाज। आई पुट अ मिरर इन फ्रंट ऑफ माई सेल्फ, एंड आई रियलाइज्ड कि ये था, तभी तो लोग मेरे साथ काम नहीं कर रहे। और उसके बाद मैंने ये सोचना शुरू किया कि आगे से मैं लोगों को सुनूंगा। आई वुड लिसन टू देम, आई विल नॉट पुट अ वर्ड टिल आई हैव listened them out completely. That changed everything for me. Now today I listen to others, and I often find कि उनका जो solution है वो जो मैं सोच रहा था उससे कहीं ज्यादा बेटर है, एंड हम सब साथ मिलके काम करते हैं। राइट? ये था वेन्यू का एक फेलियर स्टोरी। वैसा ही आपका लीडरशिप, वैल्यूज, विजन, किसी भी चीज का आप स्टोरी बना सकते हो। याद रखिए 3 एक्ट्स, हमेशा 3 एक्ट्स रखिएगा। पहले क्या था, क्रूसिबल में क्या था, और अब क्या है। हमेशा 3 चीजें रखिएगा। So see how simple it is. Let's move ahead. Thank you for your responses. I think Sanju has written failure, consistent rethinking, Preeti has written failure story when you worked very hard, but the response was disappointing. Yes, Preeti, very important. There are a lot of cases where you put in the hard work, but maybe you are putting it in the wrong direction. And that is why the response that you get is not what you expected. A very important point that you have brought out. So let's move ahead. I now come to the next module, which is module 5, which is about situational storytelling. जी हाँ, this is something which is very important for you, because ये आप practically अपने करियर में आप जहां भी स्टेज पे हैं आप ये लगा सकते हैं. या आप स्टूडेंट हैं, या आप कोई जॉब में हैं, या आप जॉब के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, या आप फंडिंग के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हैं एज ए स्टार्टअप. ये हर जगह ये सिचुएशनल स्टोरी टेलिंग आप यूज कर सकते हैं. अब हम सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट वाले पे चलते हैं. यस, द टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ. देखिए, मेरे आईएसबी में आई हैव टेकन मोर देन 200 interviews, let me tell you. And I have always asked, not always, quite a few times I have asked, tell me about yourself. Not that I had that information. अब मेरे पास उनका CV है, उनका application है. I have all the details with me. But I asked them this question, tell me about yourself, for a reason, as to how organized they are, how well do they respond. And most people are clueless about when you say tell me about yourself. An example would be, पहले तो वो शॉक में आते हैं कि अच्छा टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ. फिर वो बोलते हैं कि मेरा नाम XYZ है, राहुल है, मेरा नाम राहुल है. वेरी गुड, आई न्यू दैट. एंड मेरे जो पेरेंट्स हैं, मेरे 2 फादर और मदर हैं, और मेरे साथ 2 सिस्टर्स भी हैं. वेरी गुड. मैं जो हूं स्कूल में गया था, फिर कॉलेज में आया था. वेरी गुड. कॉलेज के बाद मैं अब आपके पास यहाँ पर आया हूँ. मैं जो हूँ स्पोर्ट्स में बहुत विश्वास रखता हूँ, और मैं कोशिश में था कि नेशनल लेवल तक पहुंचूं, पर मैं स्टेट लेवल तक गया था. ठीक है. एंड ही रैम्बल्स ऑन फॉर 10 minutes till you have to stop him. कि अच्छा भाई बस करो, मैं सब समझ गया क्या आप बोलना चाह रहे हो. राइट? बट दैट इज अ रॉन्ग थिंग. What should be the tell me about yourself response? 90 seconds. Yes, 90 seconds में आप कुछ बता सकते हैं. Initial, role, belief, describe your early career and core values, challenge and insight, right? And current offer and resonance. आपको मैं बता सकता हूं, जैसे कि मेरा खुद की कहानी, जैसे अभी मैंने आपको जो सुनाई थी, अभी फिर से आपको इधर सुना देता हूं अबाउट टेल मी अबाउट योरसेल्फ में. वेरी सिंपली, मैं पहले एक आर्मी ऑफिसर था, और मेरी जो कोर वैल्यू थी वो थी डिसिप्लिन एंड वैल्यूइंग अदर पीपल्स टाइम. ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम मैंने देखा कि जब मैंने आर्मी छोड़ दिया, मैंने देखा कि लोग जो हैं वो टाइम को वैल्यू नहीं करते, और इनवेरिएबली जो एक समय दिया हुआ है उस पर ना आके वो लेट आते हैं, और डिसिप्लिन नहीं है. जब उन्होंने जो प्रॉमिस किया है वो करने को करके वो नहीं करते. एंड दैट इज व्हाई मैंने ये डिसाइड किया कि आई विल सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. एंड आज मैं एक इंस्ट्रक्टर हूं जो लोगों को टाइम मैनेजमेंट के बारे में पढ़ाता हूं, और उनको बताता हूं कि हाउ दे कैन यूटिलाइज देयर टाइम एंड सेव अदर्स टाइम. आपको एक दूसरा भी मैं एग्जाम्पल दे सकता हूं इसके बारे में. ओके, मैं एक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर हूं, एंड आई बिलीव दैट कस्टमर इज किंग. मेरे को ये चैलेंज आता है कि जो मेरी टीम है वो अपनी तरफ से सॉल्यूशन निकालने की कोशिश करती है कोई भी प्रोडक्ट के लिए, वो कस्टमर का ध्यान नहीं रखती. इट इज अ बिग चैलेंज फॉर मी. And I have learned the hard way as to how to gain empathy for my customer, how to sit in my customer's shoes and evaluate. And today, I am in a position where I solve problems in such a way that there is minimal customer complaint. Okay, so here it is. Tell me about yourself. You can tailor it based on whether you are giving an interview or based on maybe you are joining a college, or it could be anything for that matter. But you should keep it ready with yourself within 90 seconds. The snap poll. Generally, as of now, if I ask you, tell me about yourself, आप कितने मिनट में generally आप कर पाएंगे? Just put your time, whatever it is. नॉर्मली लोग 4-4 मिनट लग जाते हैं इस पे, बट आपने ये 90 सेकेंड्स में करना है. दैट इज द पॉइंट. लेट्स मूव ऑन. Okay, this is something very interesting. Okay, Sanju says 3 minutes. Sanju, you are very realistic. Actually, you're right. Generally, people take 3 to 5 minutes in telling about themselves. And by that time, the person who is listening has moved on in his mind. Keep it to 90 seconds and you'll see the result. This is the SOAR method for responding to questions. All right. We will see that. First is the situation, obstacle, action, result, and reflection. Whenever in an interview you are asked a question, this is the framework that you have to use. I'll give you an example also. See, keep in mind the situation is you have to keep it to one sentence. You don't have to give complete kahani of things, right? Then is the obstacle. Name the specific turning point which was the challenge for you. The action, as to what specific action you took. Use I, not we out here. Even if you had a team, you describe your specific decision as an I. Result and reflection. What was the outcome in 1 or 2 sentences? And then add the learning that you have. Let me take you this. Suppose you are in an interview and then the interviewer says that the situation, he paints the situation for you, the interviewer, right? He says कि आप एक IT कंपनी में प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर हैं and you are finding that your customer who has been repeat customer for a long time is slowly moving on, and your product that you have just launched is bombing. The situation is that the product that you have just launched is bombing and your long time customers are going. So aap jo hai, now you have to answer this. So you can repeat this situation in one line to the interviewer. You can tell him that I understand that I am a product manager and I am there is a new product that is being launched, but it is not really taking off. Okay, so it is a strong product. The obstacle is now that when you got a feedback that your customers are finding it very difficult to onboard. वो जब देखते हैं, जब कोई जो वो सॉफ्टवेयर को जब अपने ऑनबोर्ड करना चाहते हैं, it is very difficult, it is confusing, and as a result people are dropping out. तो मैंने जो एक्शन लिया वो ये था कि मैंने जो अपने वेरियस डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं यहाँ पर, जो सॉफ्टवेयर कोडिंग वाला जो डिपार्टमेंट है, जो हमारा मैनेजमेंट वाले डिपार्टमेंट है, उन सबको इकट्ठा करके मैंने समझने की कोशिश करी कि कस्टमर को क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है. What is the problem this customer is facing on onboarding? And what I did was I set up at various points solutions as to what the customer should do. I put in some small videos so that If they are stuck somewhere, they can see that video and get clarity as to how can be done. I put myself in the customer's shoes and saw as to where that problem can be there. And sure enough, what happened that product was absorbed better by the market and the sales increased like anything, because the customer, once who joined in, was able to navigate through it and really utilize the powerful aspects, the specifications of this. And the lesson that I learned was that you have to have empathy for your customer. आपने अपने कस्टमर को जानना बहुत जरूरी है. जब आप प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन करते हो तो कस्टमर को पहले रख के उसके रिवर्स में आप डिजाइन करो. ये नहीं कि आप प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन कर दो और फिर कस्टमर को दे दो कि भाई आप इसको यूज करो. This is the SOAR method of responding to this question. Now you can apply it to anything, maybe to a toothpaste that you are producing, or maybe a textile that you are making, or a t-shirt that you are making. You see, it is a very powerful method of responding to questions. Let's move on. The 3-act narrative for investor pitches. If you're pitching to the investor, this is actually for founders in the room. And I suggest you take a photograph of this, a screenshot of this, because it will help you in a big way. Whether every leader who is pitching a budget, a project, or a promotion is doing a version of this. Okay, so it is a 3-act. The first is the problem. The second is the insight. And third is the solution. The problem is about your personal experience of the problem is very, very compelling. What was the personal experience? The insight. That is where your pitch deck fails. You have to bring in insight from yourself. And the solution, you have to present the future world. Let me give you an example. That I am Rekha. My father had early stage cancer. And when we went to the doctor was not able to identify that early stage cancer. Not because he was bad, but because the reports, the tests which were done were in 3 different hospitals. And those reports never came together for the doctor to analyze. As a result, to my horror, I realized that this problem is not just with my father. There are so many patients out there their tests, their previous history, their other details are not available to the doctor at one place for taking a right decision. And as a result, so many, in fact, deaths happen because of wrong diagnosis. So this was the insight. And so I decided that I will make a platform which can consolidate all these details. So I have formed the company called Med Plus. And this company it's a platform which enables all data pertaining to a customer to come in place together. As on date, I have done it across 5 cities and 120 hospitals. But my idea is to build it for the entire country, where a person, one country, one record, where a consolidated details are available. Right? So this is a 3-act narrative which I have. I have so many others which I can tell you, but you can apply it to yourself as to how it works. Now, this is very interesting. A 3-act leadership introduction for new leaders. See, aap log jo hain, you're all young people. You would be joining various companies as leaders somewhere, or maybe you will sidestep to another company where you are a leader again, right? How do you introduce yourself? How do you build a story? You generally do, you acknowledge the teams. Whichever team you are joining, you acknowledge them. Show that you have done homework about that team, right? Next, you share a defining leadership moment of yours. Describe a personal experience and highlight your leadership style. And of course, state commitment and invite collaboration. Let us go back to that product manager, right? So this product manager who was there is a person who is sidestepping into another company, same into another team as a product manager role. And what he says is, he goes to the team and says that, okay, guys, I have seen that you have some excellent products which have been there for a long time. I understand that products in today's world never last that long unless there has been a lot of thought which has gone in. The design, the UI is good, and that the customer is appreciating what is coming his way. And I see that you people have done a tremendous job in this regard, and I am really honored to be joining your team. When I was in my previous company, at that time, there was this product which was not taking off. I went about getting the teams together and come up with a solution which was customer centric. And I realized in that when I had my team together, when we sat down and brainstormed, they came up with so many answers which otherwise I was not available. I was, I mean, by myself I could not have done it. The fact is that the wisdom of the crowd is any day better than an individual wisdom. It is my commitment to you that I will keep that learning in mind. The psychological safety of the team will be something of high priority to me. Each of you will have a word in whatever product that we are designing. And let us take our company to the next level together, contributing well. How is it for a introduction? Right? I hope you're getting it, what I am saying. Next is the module 6. It is about crafting a leadership narrative. Now, this slide that I'm going to show to you is worth a lot. You should take a screenshot and decide upon your story as the time comes. And you should leverage it wherever it is possible. It is a formula which is always successful, it will never fail. The 5-part leadership story formula. First, who I am. One sentence, your identity as a leader. Second, what shaped me? Share one specific influence, just one specific influence, right? That made a difference to you. Third, what problem I care about, the cause that drives you, which is your why. Four, what I do today. Describe your current role and responsibilities. And 5, what I want to build. What is your vision? What is something which will leave a lasting memory? Who will be listening to you? Right? You can put it to yourself, you can apply it for anyone. The fact is, I can give you an example about myself, which because I've been following that story. You see, that I am a professional soldier who has been in the armed forces. And I believe, I'm giving you one sentence only, and I believe in discipline and valuing time. I have had number of experiences, but what shaped me was that as a young captain, when I was leading a patrol, and when the people got so tired that at that time I told them about the next day's program, and there I could see their bodies sinking, their body language dropping. And that was the time when one of my junior commissioned officers, a Jawan who rises up through the ranks and is in a position of 15 to 20 years of work experience, he got up and said to the Jawans that, "जवानों, आप जो ये कर रहे हो, ये खुद के लिए नहीं, आप देश के लिए कर रहे हो, आप अपने बच्चों के लिए कर रहे हो, जो ये नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है आप उनके लिए कर रहे हो, ताकि जब वो बड़े हों तो उनका जो नेशन है, जो उनका देश है, वो सिक्योर रहे। याद रहिए, चाहे अच्छा वक्त हो, चाहे बुरा वक्त हो, एक सेइंग आप याद रखो, एंड दैट इज दिस टू शैल पास। ये जो है, ये वक्त जाएगा। आप आज हिस्ट्री क्रिएट करो। And the moment when these Jawans heard this from that guy, they were full of josh. And I found that influence, the narrative, makes a huge difference. A narrative can make a person walk on fire for you if your narrative is right. So the problem that I really care about is, my passion is that how to tell people to learn how to tell their narratives, how to make a narrative so that people can influence others and even themselves to work better. What I do today is take sessions, take classes for people to understand the importance of making a story, of making a narrative as a tool to help your leadership. What I want to build is a stage where every person has their own story in mind, who are very clear about their vision, about their beliefs, about their thoughts. And leaders enable others, their followers, to come up with stories which make a huge difference to the nation, to their own lives. All right. This is one story that I just made for you. You can make your own stories. Now, this story should remain with you. Do take a screenshot of this, right? It will make a big difference to you. Use it to draft your own leadership story. Tonight itself, before you forget the energy of this session, tonight, do it. So now we are coming to the end of our session. We talked about your leadership why. I talked about signature stories. Stories that you can tell under 2 minutes. Remember, there has to be a tension in your story always. Because without a tension in your story, things are likely to fail. And your narrative should serve your audience. Your Act 3 should connect your transformation to their need and opportunity. That is how things work. Some references for further reading for you people. Joseph Campbell, Hero with 1,000 Faces. Now, all the frameworks that we have been the genesis, to a certain extent, is with Joseph Campbell's book. Do read it. Next is Nancy Duarte, Resonate. All your presentations that you make, besides the colors and the frame and the format, the content, how to reach out to people, is there in this book. Robert McKee, Story. It is about delving deeper into the narratives that we talk about. Your narratives can be as deep as you want them. And so this helps you reach there. And then Stephen Denning's The Leadership's Guide to Storytelling, The Leader's Guide to Storytelling. It is for every leader amongst us. Every leader amongst us, right? As to how you can develop your stories based on your understanding. And of course, the Carmine Gallo, Talk Like Ted. This book talks about how you can learn to be like Ted, accessible and fast. It is excellent for those preparing to speak on stage or on camera. Now, these books are available on my website, leadersweavestories.com. Anytime, not these books, the references. There are other references. There are quite a few references which are there. You can have a look at them. But what I would request you once again is sit down with your loved ones, your father, your mother, maybe your wife, maybe your siblings, and discuss your life from the time that you remember. Identify within that your successes, your failures, your beliefs, your values that came through various ways. I remember one of my good colleagues, he talks about that when that his father was in Air Force, he was a fighter pilot. He says that my father used to discuss about flying, about pilots, and about how your inner value, your depth matters a lot. And he said on phone, there was an occasion where a fighter pilot got into a conflict with someone else while he was driving a car. And the management was wanting to ground him. His father was talking and on the phone, and of course, my course mate overheard him. And he said he was talking to the management and he was telling them that if you have a fighter pilot, he has to have a killer instinct. You can't bottle that instinct anywhere. He has to be within limits, but you can't bottle it. So putting him on ground for showing that instinct at some place would be something wrong. And also, then he also brought out another story about his father that he was a time when a person had pilot had misbehaved. So his father, there was a very, very important course which was coming up for that person. His father told him that, okay, because you have misbehaved, this course, you're not going for that. That would have affected his career very badly. And that pilot got the lesson, right? But in the next time when that course came, his father nominated him, that pilot, for that course. He said that you have to teach a lesson, but you do not have to spoil a career. And this is a lesson which he carried with him. He rose to one of the highest ranks in Indian Navy. Okay. And he always remembered what his father told him. Those telephone conversations with the management, those actions, he always carries them. I'm sure all of you, or each and every one of you, has these some thoughts in your mind. Bring them up, make a story out of it, use it for your interviews, for your pitches, for whatever that you have to do. And you will see the difference. Because remember, the mind doesn't listen to logic, it listens to the story. You have to light up all those 7 points, not just the 2 points in the head. That's what I want to bring out to you. And my saying for you is that people follow a narrative before they follow a leader. It's a very, very deep meaning. Thank you. If you have any queries right now, do type in and I will make an attempt to answer any queries that you may have. Go ahead. Or maybe even comments on how you liked this session. Whatever you want to write, put it in the chat. I would love to have a question or two, right? Okay, good. Aarti asks the question, how to increase confidence level? Well, Aarti, a good question, and especially for people in a stage of between 25 years of age to 30 years of age, that is a big problem. How to increase confidence? I can put it in, say, two steps. One, that wherever you are going, where you need confidence, prepare beforehand for that. If you are going for attending a meeting, try and learn maximum about the other people who are there in the meeting, right? Learn about them. What are their mindsets? You spend some time doing that homework, Arti. That will make a huge difference, because when you know about them, you will be confident. And second, about confidence to increase is to rehearse. You can rehearse. People, it is said that people who speak, you know, extempore, right? When you have these extempore speeches, people who speak extempore actually put in the maximum effort behind it. So if you can rehearse something well, if you can prepare your research before that, I can assure you, you will have that confidence. And of course, another way of a good confidence level is to dress up well. I have a full session that now I'll bring up on how to bring up your confidence level sometime later. And I'm sure, Preeti, you will be able to attend that. Okay, Venu. Okay. Venu says thank you. Yeah, thank you, Venu. Definitely. Okay. Sanju says, sir, how to deliver the content with structure? Well, Sanju, that was the complete intention that you have. See, all that what I have told you, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and, but, therefore, all these are structures. So, if you can sit back, think, apply your mind on a piece of paper, whatever I have taught you, those structures that I have given, put them on piece of paper and start writing against that as to what is coming to your mind. Once you have put it in paper, then piece it together, rehearse it. And once you have rehearsed it, I can assure you that you will be able to deliver the content absolutely smoothly. Yeah. Any other question? I'm very happy. Aarti, Sanju, Venu, all these questions that you are asking, and of course, how it makes a difference, right? And guys, next session will be on 12th of April, online again, data storytelling. How to use data to tell stories for leaders. I'm sure you will love it. So keep checking my website, leadersweavestories.com, and I will keep you updated on that. I'll put the link out there, and I would love it if you people can join in there. Right? How to use data for storytelling. And every month going ahead, I'll be coming up with one session for sure. And I would definitely, Aarti, as you wanted about how to increase confidence, I gave you two answers, but maybe there will be a much bigger structure that I can build around that, and you will be much more confident. Thank you, guys. Have a great day, and I wish you all the best in your career ahead, and may you keep weaving stories in such a way that you achieve whatever you wish to. So, good afternoon, bye, and take care. My regards.